guys, so welcome along to this strip down of this Raleigh. Now the front part, I've skipped on a video, but I'm just going to show you quick now on the front wheel. A lot of people say that on the Raleigh front wheels there's a round cone on the right side and a cone with flats on the left hand side. That is not always the case, depending where the bike was made. Now with this one, we count the camera, you can see, I'll try and get a zoom up so you have a better look. We got a 2 flats cone on that side and 2 flats cone on that side, and that's because it's a 4-speed with a GW hub. They had different wheels. These had the 32 spoke rims and 32 spoke hubs, so they use a different front hub to the 36s, which did have their own cones. So the way I identify these, they're left hand thread on a nut, and the passenger side, or your left hand side, has a shoulder on the nut, as you can see here. On the right hand side is a flat nut, and that is identified between the drive side and the wrong side. So when you put the wheel back in the bike, make sure the one side is on the other side, not to get hub wind up when you reassemble. Okay, now I'm going to jump over to myself now a couple of days ago and looking at me stripping the bike and seeing how far we got. Okay, a little bit of wheel action. Now we don't have to remember on here now guys which way around this wheel goes, because there is a 2 flat cone on that side, and if I bring it around, there's a 2 flats cone on this side as well. So you need to make a mental note of which way around the wheel goes. The one side you screw right up in, and the other one you don't. Now the majority of Raleigh wheels have got a round cone on the right hand side, which you run in as tight as you can do. And once it's tight by hand, you do all your adjustment on the left hand side. This is an oiling hub. These are the original cones on the bike, and some of the bikes, depending where they come from, the Nottingham line, Oxford or whatever, actually had different hubs. That hub could actually come in direct from Sturmey Archer or even from Raleigh Island, etc. Okay guys, so the next thing we're going to be looking at now is your Sturmey Archer cable. This is the next thing coming along the way, because these are valuable. They break easy, and some of these, like this one, is 64 years of age. So how do you know how to set it up for removal? How to be set for removal? If the cable is pulled in all the way, such, the cable will be taut, which means the selector rod is pulled all the way over, and it cannot be viewed through the window on the other side. Okay, so look at our window. Okay guys, so this is your observation window for your selector rod. If you're in first gear, the cable will be pulled completely taut and your selector rod will be pulled all the way over. As I select them through the gears now, you will see the rod actually come through. So in the second, third and fourth. So back down, third, second, first. And if you're setting up the gear, you want the rod so it's just appearing there. So in the middle will be second, third and top fourth. So you would want it just appearing there in the window. So that would be correctly set up there. But we're taking the assembly all together, so we're dropping all the way down to fourth, as we know where we are. Now we've got to remove the Sturmey Archer selector chain. Okay, so selector chain. We're going to put out the first gear as we know where we are. So first gear, like I said, is completely taut. You don't want it there. To remove it, you want it all the way down completely slack. So you're down to the 4th gear, ready for removal. This little nut by here is for a lock nut for against this here. Generally speaking, these are always loose. And all you have to do is quite literally just unscrew it. Unless I've seen some people doing videos, get pliers on you and snap the chain. Don't do that, it's stupid. All you got to do is literally just unscrew the chain. And this type as well, because there's a captive nipple on the end, as you can see here, this stays on. If you buy a replacement, there'll be a loop with this cap on it and with a nut halfway up. But it's much more common sense just to keep hold of your chain, original cable, as you can just reattach it afterwards. So the Sturmey Archer cable, it routes up over the top of this pulley. Now because we have this adapter on the end, there's no way it will pull through there, as you sure you agree. So the only way to do it really is to cut the cable off. And unfortunately for you guys, I'm not cutting a Ray 4-speed cable just for this video, know how. So what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to soak everything in WD-40. I'm going to remove the clips to take off with the handlebars complete. Now on the back, now on the rear brake, we've got ourselves a genuine Raleigh brake cable. It's a double-ended cable with one nipple on here. That's our selector cable. Tuck that out of the way. One nipple on this side and one nipple in the handlebars as well. And we're going to slack it off this lock nut, wind this in to take the tension off and pop the cable out. Okay, now so we slackened off the pinch nut on the back. We slackened off this top lock nut here. We screw this down in, pinch out calipers, take the tension off, and now we can wind our adjuster all the way in. And our cable now should, I say should, pop out. But it ain't going to, because that's the way of life. And that's how things always work when you're doing it on a video for the first time. Get a little bit more thread, a snippy nose, push it down, there you are, and out she comes. So that's now our cable out. And as we know, this is all one piece, so we undo this nut now the rest of the way, and we'll keep it safe and put it back on there for later. You can see now where I pinched the cable, so we're going to release the bike. Going to pick her up, get the cable through so we can access everything, and lock her back down. Lovely. So there we are. So now we can take the cables off here. And we can now get our cables off the frame. So one cable, push the cable through from the front, leave her up. Come on, bugger. Ain't gonna work like planned, is it? It never does, oh, let's be honest. Okay folks, there's no truer saying than the old-fashioned saying, beware the shit mechanic. As you pull the lever, you see this chrome bar goes through, which is this here. Now the nipple, and we know this is the original brake cable because it's double-ended, goes through our side, locks in there. Thus, this cable then, it also goes through there. So that's over there, like such. Goes in from this side, and you bigger. Obviously when it's inside the cable, inside the housing, this is a lot easier. So it goes through the housing there, locks in, and then this spring clip then, if I can get on the camera, locks around such inside the housing. It stops the cable from accidentally falling out. But somebody hadn't put it on the right way up, so I had absolute murder getting it out. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is removing our cone nuts, or selector fork nuts, for removal of the wheels. I'm a little bit nervous about this because I've never taken one of these off before in my life. So it's this is going to be fun to see what happens now. What I know is I should just undo, but I've seen so many of these snap on the 4-speeds, I'm really scared of doing it. So I think what we're going to do is first we're going to take the chain off first, then we're going to have a look at removing the wheel. Okay guys, so I've done a little bit of work in between them about the battery charging. One of the things that I've discovered is the selector chain, she's seized inside the hub. So I've got to get some WD-40 later today to soak that in there. And I've got the crank cover off, and the chain is absolutely like brand new. So that's a bit of a bonus that's come up. And one thing which I'm a bit disappointed on, don't know when it was done, but the mudguard had been smacked in, dubbed over. I might be able to get it out, I don't know, but it won't be perfect. But I am super happy, so I will have to put a new chain. That's looking like brand new. So we're going to get open the rest of the crankcase now and have a look inside. Okay then guys, so we got the crankcase cover off. It was a little bit of a fiddle to get it to come out, let's be honest. This was a really nice fit on the crankcase cover, the pedal there, and this, because I'd never taken one out before, and you can see here now the paint, it was actually stuck on the inside of the crankcase. It looks like to me this has never been out. There's been some slight rubbing on the inside, but the amount of dirt had come away when I broke the seal on there, figuratively speaking, where it just is pushed in. It actually came rather nice. I did put a little scratching down here because it is a bit of a pig in a poke to get out. Use a bit of auxiliary light, as I said, as we can see what's going on. But as you can see here now, the chain is absolutely like brand new. Although I got the new chain there, I don't think I'm gonna bother. It doesn't look like it needs it. Okay, next stage now, we're gonna look for the chain split or chain link. Is that it? There you are, there's our chain link there. So that's what we're going to try and work on next. And hopefully we don't snap this selector rod here. Right, I do understand you can be pretty fiddly devils to get apart. I've seen these flicked out with screwdrivers and God knows what else. But this hasn't been up here in 60 years. It's the original link. I think I have to give that a good clean down, guys, to see what I'm doing. Okay guys, as you can see, got the chain split. Cheeky little fellow, I gotta be honest. The hardest part was actually getting this little circlip off, because it's actually plastered in grease, dirty, stiff, stinky grease. It was quite difficult to actually get apart. So this will go in with the rest of the parts for a good clean, and see how the rest comes apart. So we're going to pull the chain out now and pull that into a nice clean bowl. Okay, 50 years old then, first for everything. 35 years as a mechanic. I never changed a chain on a bicycle. So I'd say the first for everything, and you're never ever too old to learn. So here's our chain out, just put it in the bowl now. Okay, so here's our chain off the bike. Okay, the next thing we're going to take out now, on the rear chainstay, are these two screws in here. For this gentle operation, I'm using a number 27 Sheffield steel kitchen knife, because this is how I roll. My other tools are up the garage. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. And I can't be arsed to go up the garage to get my flat blade screwdrivers. So I can feel there's a bracket or something now just come loose inside there. There we are. So here's the bracket. That's going to be a fiddly little devil to put back later. Unless we can just, yeah, there we are. So I'll screw there, I'll run that back in, so he doesn't fall completely. And next we got to get onto the front screw or bolt in the chain wheel. Okay, as you look in the chain wheel now, it's spinning around, it gives a good position. There's a good position. We can see by here now, the bolt just in by here, which we got to take out to take the chain guard off. But the chain guard doesn't come off until the cranking arms come out first. So that's the next job, It'll give them a good soak in WD-40 when I get them tomorrow. And at the last, take out the rear wheel. Okay then, so as you can see, the wheel is out. You have to straighten the flats on it, or somebody had abused it and put the flats the wrong way. So as you turn the flats on the axles or the hubs the right way, the wheel just falls out. The next thing we've done, we've taken the front screw out of the mudguard here, or nut and bolt I should say. We've taken the top nut and bolt out of the caliper, and now we're going to remove the wheel arch now, because it should just these two rear screws or bolts holding the rear wheel arch, mudguard, fender, curb bit of metal, call it what you will, depending wherever, of course, wherever in the world you are. So this should be the last screw tonight. I'm doing work on it, about 4 o'clock in the morning now. Like I said, by my mother's carers here, it's the only chance I get, middle of the night, to do any work. Might sound bizarre to you, but trust me, it's the only way I can get anything done at all. Okay, so rear bolts are loose. Let's see how now. Let's put it so we've got the top. Let's bring our camera up. Sorry. So we've got a metal shim in here, and something down in here blocking. Like I have a feeling this metal shim needs to come out. Okay, so it needs to be bent back a little bit on top. And out she comes, is our arch coming out in surprisingly quite good condition. Okay, so that's as far as we're going to go on this section of the strip down. I got to get some WD-40 on the crank bosses. I know they're going to be seized from past experience with a Raleigh Maverick, which I restored. All these clips for the cables screwed on. They've been on the bike for 61 years, or 64 actually. So they're going to need a good soak in releasing agent like WD-40 or GT50 to get them off. Same with the handlebar stems here. I'm going to give ours a good soaking with WD-40. I'm going to grab a tin later today when I get up. I'm going to bed now. And that'll be the next part of our strip down. Removing the brightwork, freeing up the seat post, removing the cranks, cranking arms, removing the chain guard and front forks. So that'll be the next part. Then in part 5 and 6 I'll be stripping the wheels and the 4GS dyno hub and get on up to velocity. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you guys, that little wonderful guy at Velocipedia, he did reach out to me, message me, and said I could send the 4GS up to him for servicing, which is great, because I think I'm going to snap the selector chain trying to get out, and they are hard to get hold of on the 4GS hub. The lights, I think I'm going to do away with that, and the brightwork on there, we'll see how it comes up in the wash. If it's too bad, I might replace the parts or get them re-chromed, I don't know. So thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.